Level Up Grappling Podcast. We are back. Did you like, subscribe, and share? Like I ask you every week, share with 3 people. Come on, guys. You can do it. We need listeners. We need rabid followers, and you guys can do it. You guys that are very passionate about this podcast as much as you love it, remember, you're getting literally a free seminar every week. So get your notebooks out, take some notes, and philosophize with us. And also, something Adam and I were talking about, it's very important. We want you guys to submit questions. Okay. Always submit questions, technique questions, whatever. Because when we do these technique talks with Mark Schultz, you're getting a tremendous value. And there's stuff that I know that's going on in your gym when you're training and you have questions about. And you're not always going to be able to ask your coach, your professor, whoever. Maybe you can. Maybe they give you one answer. Maybe you want a different answer. Maybe you want a different perspective. And the cool thing when we do this technique talk, you're getting 3 different perspectives from people that have had different experience, different, styles of training. So it's always great to hear different perspectives. And what's interesting, before we get into the topic of the day, I want you guys to consider something. And this is how we hold each other accountable. All the time, Adam and I, and we're always sharing videos with each other, stuff that we're working on, with our students in the gym. We share videos. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We share stuff with Mark Schultz. What do you think about this? What's your opinion on this? So we do this to keep ourselves sharp. We're always asking each other questions and we're sharing each other feedback or insights or perspectives and share something. And then maybe, I ask Adam a question, because he's got this really technical stuff that I love. And sometimes I'm like, hey, can you film it at a different angle? I'd like to see another angle of that, because I'm always in the process of learning. Or Adam says, hey, walk me through your mindset of why you did this instead of this. And then I'll explain, I did this because, here's the mindset behind why I did this approach for this particular technique and why I didn't finish it here and I did this instead. So that's going to kind of lead us into the topic of the week, which is how and why rankings matter. Do rankings matter? In rankings, we're talking about belts, because everybody says, oh, that doesn't matter, this and that. Well, okay. The biggest place where I hear people say rankings don't matter is in the catch wrestling world. And I think 99% of the time, the reason why guys are saying that is because they suck. And they say rankings don't matter because they have no real education or they're not trained in proper technique. Historically, rankings never mattered and blah, 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 blah. Rankings are bullshit. And the only reason why you get belts is because you paid for them, because you had an attendance card. All right, let's stop that bullshit. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give an argument as to why belts and rankings do matter. I'm going to start it from the most basic premise is it shows that you were able to commit to something and you had the discipline to sit down, shut the fuck up and learn. Doesn't mean you're the best black belt in the world. Let's say you're a black belt, but it means you took the time. And I'm going on the premise that you were not the guy that bought a belt. Because as you know, there's lots of people these days, they are like, say they got to blue belt and then they find some Brazilian guy somewhere that's willing to, for $5,000, give them a belt. Shit, it happens here in Southern California. I'm not going to name names, but there are people very good, dare I say, excellent jiu-jitsu practitioners that sell belts on the side. And no, I'm not going to give any names. It's not necessary. It's not important, nor do I want them to be getting more money for more belts because some of you would probably go run and buy them. not most of you, but there are some listeners that we have that are consider themselves much higher esteem than they are. And they do that. So to me, it's like you go to university, you get some kind of degree, right? A bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD. And oftentimes it may not be the degree that say, well, I have a bachelor's degree, so I'm smarter than you. No, all the bachelor's degree means is that you were able to show up somewhere every day, listen, take notes, go through exams, and it shows a process of dedication, of learning, of forward learning. And I think that that's important. I think that to develop yourself, you need to have some type of measurement. Either it's competitive measurement, especially in the martial arts, it's either competitive measurement or academic measurement. And what I mean by academic, not that you're sitting writing papers on what it means to be a jiu-jitsu black belt or what it means to be a catch wrestler, but you're taking that time, and we see nowadays there are certain guys out there that are doing rankings in catch wrestling. They don't say white belt, yellow belt, green belt, whatever, but they say your shooter level 1, your shooter level 2, hooker level 1, hooker level 2, which is kind of silly. I think it should just all be colored belts. Let's just all keep it streamlined. I think it'd be much easier, but I do think it matters. I think it matters so that you have a process of education and you're learning, and you're not walking around saying, well, I'm this badass wrestling coach, catch wrestling coach, but you've never put the work in to develop yourself under an instructor. And I've seen this time and time again where you have these guys online that talk about, well, rankings, belts don't matter. Okay. For you, belts don't matter because that's what enables you to sleep at night, because you didn't have the discipline to go to class every day and actually learn from somebody that knows more than you do. Not everybody is a freak athlete or a successful crossover athlete. Like, well, we'll use Mark Schultz as an example. He got his black belt, jiu-jitsu black belt, in a unique way, but he has a level of grappling mastery and grappling expertise that is undeniable. So he is a black belt, not just in jiu-jitsu, but you want to call it a black belt in wrestling, if there is such a thing, which there isn't, but let's pretend. That's black belt level. That's also another term that's used in certain sports, master of sport. That means something. It means you have a certain degree of commitment, dedication, and mastery. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a good thing. It means that you've dedicated yourself to the art and you've put the time in. What say you, Adam?
Well, what say I? The belt debate. I personally believe skill sets matter more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me you're the greatest black belt in the world. If one of my blue belts can pass your guard and tap you, it doesn't really mean much, does it?
True.
Right? So the skill set must match the belt for a start. I think black belts used to mean a lot more than they do now. And I'm not trying to detract from anybody who's a black belt or anything. It's not what I'm trying to say. I just sort of go with the internet and the explosion of belts for sale, qualifications for sale, ranks for sale. I guess the meaning of that black belt has sort of deteriorated. in general. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's people like yourself who graded under Chris, got your black belt legitimately by getting your ass whooped by people. Yeah, constantly. That is a black belt that means something. Yeah. There's also other people in the world that went, that black belt means jack shit to me.
Sure.
Yeah, I would go wipe my ass with that black belt, frankly, and then throw it back at you. As to catch wrestling and, Herman Munster, of whom we speak, you know who you are, dopey. You know who you are. Right. And his ilk, who we have referred to as the BCM for a long time now and will continue to
Yeah.
do so.
Correct.
That whole ilk, belts don't matter because you don't have a belt. Basically. Yeah. That's why belts don't matter to him and his lot. Because they don't have the belt. Of course it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like me. I don't have a solid gold shithouse. But it doesn't matter. I tell everybody it doesn't matter because I don't fucking have one. But if I
Yeah.
did, it would matter. Brian, I would be taking the camera in going, look at my solid gold shithouse, Brian. We're doing the podcast from my shithouse because it's solid gold. It would matter. But because I don't have one, it doesn't matter. Right, and that's the premise, yeah? It's a joke, but it's the premise. That belt doesn't matter to
Yeah.
Herman Munster and his mates because none of them have one. Why don't they have one? Because they don't have a skill set that matches a belt level. Let's face it, they're fucking gimps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're useless. And then they get on the internet and carry on and stuff. And I'm not going to detract from the subject matter of the podcast by going on about Herman and his friends, right? The Black Adams family. Yeah. And it is what it is. Yeah. I don't care what they do. Yeah. We've talked about that before. But I sort of go, I guess where it correlates all of that is that once you start having a section of a populace, martial artists in this case, passing themselves as high-level coaches without putting in the time to gain the skill set that matches, this is where I go, belts don't matter. Okay, the belt that you're wearing, just because look, I can get a black belt tomorrow. I'll go down the road and buy one from the martial arts shop, $6.95. Yeah, put it on and tell everybody that I'm a catch wrestling black belt. Yeah, and catch wrestling doesn't have belts. Okay, well, I'm a lucha libre black belt. Under who? The person I pay $200 a month to give it to me.
Yeah.
Does the black belt mean shit? No, it doesn't. Yeah, so it's. Did it used to mean something when it was about you couldn't buy a belt? You had to earn a belt? Then, yeah, it meant something. Does it mean as much now to those who don't know any different? Well, no. We see it repeatedly. People that buy a belt online, buy a qualification online, buy something online, and then go out and start teaching and claiming it and stuff like that. To Joe Public, who's not involved in martial arts, doesn't understand how this all works, that belt means something. Yeah. When he's signing up students, they go, oh, he's a black belt. They sign up. They don't know that he bought the black belt, but he's never actually trained with the person who gave it to him. He just paid a certain amount of money, watched the videos, and got a black belt. They don't know that. But what that then does is it deteriorates the authenticity of a belt. Yeah, there's going to be your guys who have done it the correct way. Of course there is. That's the majority of people. Yeah, the majority of people have done things the right way. Gone out, earned their black belt, put in the time, paid the money. And you're talking tens of thousands of dollars if you match up all the fees over a period of 25 years to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, and let's say it's taken someone 20 years, like me, who was a bit slow. Yeah, it took me 23 years. The fees that I paid in that 23 years is tens of thousands of dollars. It's a lot of money, plus a
True.
lot of time, a lot of sweat, a lot of injuries.
Yep.
I earned my black belt, as did
Yep.
you, as did most people. But then there is that little side group that they don't have to do that. And it's that little side group. You get someone who comes to train with that little side group and the stuff that they're teaching is rubbish. Then people start either going, one, the system is shit, or two, the black belt is shit. It doesn't mean anything. You get what I mean? And we had that discussion where we were talking about the downfall of catch, and regular listeners will remember it. The biggest downfall of catch is people wanting to do catch wrestling, running in to Herman and his friends, and them training there for 2 years, learning catch, go to a grappling industries tournament, get smoked by a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Now what happens is they go, catch is shit, I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu, it's heaps better. It's not that catch is shit, it's that your coach is shit. Yeah, it's a downfall thing. And catch wrestling is the wild, wild west.
It is.
It is. It's the wild west. Yeah? It's a free for all. And good look. I'm still of the opinion. Good luck to everyone. Yeah, I'm not the catch police. Good luck to everybody. Do your thing, roll your roll, have fun. But I also do sit there and go, buyer beware. Yeah, in the same breath. If you're silly enough to pay them for what you can see is rubbish, that's your business. Yeah, what do you want from me? But the whole ranking thing, yeah, look, I'm not too sure that I place as much emphasis on the ranking thing anymore, purely because I find it very difficult to know which side of the fence people are on unless I get on a mat with them. Yeah,
that's very true.
Which then again boils down to skill set means more than belts.
I think it's a very difficult subject to really have a clear answer on.
Yeah, there isn't one.
Because I still think you do need a ranking system, but the ranking system has to come from people that are authentically ranked, right? That's where you dovetail it. It has to be from people that are authentically ranked. I always say this about myself. When people say, well, you don't have an NCAA championship or you don't have this gold medal or that gold medal, I never claimed to have that. What I have claimed, which I'm very proud to claim, is the best people in the world have beaten my ass on the daily for years. And I'm proud that I've had my ass kicked by the best in the world. And I can very confidently say that 99% of the people out there haven't. Yeah. Because they haven't had access to the people that I've had access to.
And even if they did, they wouldn't get on the mat.
They wouldn't. You know, I had the good fortune of, okay, let's go down the line here. Let's start with the basic grappling arts. I'm not even going to get into the striking arts, but let's go the basic grappling arts. Okay, yeah, great. Get a judo black belt. Okay, cool. A lot of people you can get a judo black belt in 4 years, 5 years. You know, you just have to come to class. You know, there's plenty of people that'll give them out. You just put your time on, you do your academic study, and you can get a judo black belt. I was fortunate enough to train and be a training partner with some of the meanest judokas in the world. For 2 years, I got to train almost daily with Satoshi Ishii, a judo black belt at the super heavyweight division. Dude beat my ass. I learned nuances of foot sweeps from him. Why? Because he did it to me so many fucking times, right? Where I understood and got to have my ass kicked by him directly. Ironically, you want to know something funny? Adam and I, after we got our judo black belts, we didn't necessarily pursue further ranking in judo, right? I mean, if we did, we'd both be the candy cane coral belts by now. We didn't, but we went out there and we did what we needed to do. We went through the academic study and and being in the gym and studying and training. We earned the ranking the old-fashioned way, getting our asses kicked. Adam's a master of sport and sambo. He did that the old-fashioned way by going out there and competing and doing what he needed to do to create that achievement. Jiu-jitsu, same thing. I am Van. I was talking to somebody recently, and because we get these weird things sometimes, these comments of going, "Oh, you guys hate jiu-jitsu." Well, but we did a whole episode on why we don't hate jiu-jitsu, why we actually love jiu-jitsu, and I've been blessed, absolutely blessed, to have trained and grown up in Southern California, where there was no shortage of jiu-jitsu masters to train with. And we had David Meyer on and we were talking about what it was like to get our asses handed to us by Higan Machado. That's not everybody gets to say that, and I've gotten from many of these guys that are coral belts now and Chris Howder, the bloody beatings I've taken from Chris Howder. Bloody. And it's a beautiful thing. Robert Drysdale had to, got to be on the mat with him for 6 months and had him beat my ass, and figure out ways to survive. I never said I was the best at anything, but come hell or high water, I went to the best in the world, and I gladly had them beat my ass and then tried to deconstruct every which way that they beat my ass. And I bring this up because my ass beatings are a badge of honor for me. And in that sense, to your point, Adam, in the sense of how a belt wouldn't matter, you got plenty of people out there that are, paper black belts, right? They show up to class, they get their thing, or they bought the belt. But would they get on the mat with a Drysdale? Would they get on the mat with Higan? Would they get on the mat with Ishii and stand up with Ishii? Fuck no, they wouldn't. Because they know that's a death sentence.
I understand. Look, I don't want to come on and say belts are irrelevant. They're not. Yeah, I think every martial art should have a ranking system. Yeah, it's what defines progress. It's what defines skill sets and levels. It's how matches are made. And this whole thing that we see from Herman and them, going, just get on the mat and sort it out. It doesn't matter. There's no belts, there's no skill levels, this and that. Okay. So then why don't we put you, Herman, with one of the heavyweight NCAA champions Because remember, you can't be a catch wrestler unless you can wrestle. So how about you get in with one of those 220, 230-pound college wrestlers and see how you do? That would never happen,
Yeah.
right? It's just not going to happen, man. And I understand it. And I sort of go, cool, great, do you do? But does that detract from the relevance of a coach? I go, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. Some of the best coaches were never competitors. Okay, and some of the best competitors make shit coaches.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't equate to coaching credibility. What does equate to coaching credibility is the amount of effort you put in to learning the craft that you're coaching.
Yes.
And how do we define that legitimately in the past? Was by achieving a black belt. Once I achieved that black belt, I had learnt the foundational principles and foundational techniques of that martial art. I could then pass that on. Okay. But if that black belt is now available to someone who's done a 1 week camp and paid a certain amount of money and then gets given the belt, do you see what I'm saying? The discrepancy there? The discrepancy in
Mm-hmm.
the old style of where you had to earn that belt over a period of years learning is what gave you the defining principle of how long you put into the craft you're trying to coach. When that is compromised by corruption, greed, and the internet, and money changing hands, then of course the coaching credibility is going to be damaged. The coaching credentials, the amount of time you spent learning the craft is gone. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it's not going to be as good as what it was.
It's I think to your point, it's about creating a system and a structure of accountability, right? It's you have to be accountable for your progress, and the coach has to be accountable for the development and the curriculum. Um, it's it's so tough because there's we've gotten to an age, especially the internet age, where everybody wants things fast and easy. And people need to remember that none of this is fast and easy. I mean, you just said yourself, 20 plus years to get to a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? And there's various politics behind that. But you were wrestling since you were 4 years old to develop into a wrestling champion, national champion. That's years and years of dedication. And now with the advent of the internet and the stuff you can see on Instagram and YouTube and BJJ fanatics and everything, everybody wants something fast. Like, how fast can I get it? Well, it doesn't work that way. People, oh, BJ Penn got it in 3 years, so I can get it in 3 years. Hold on. Number one, BJ Penn is a genetic freak. Number two, most people don't know the story of him and his brother. First of all, his family has a lot of money. Him and his brother were sent to California, and that's all they did for 8-10 hours a day. They were training. So when you're looking at that 3 hours or 3 years, sorry, that was 8 to 10 hours a day of training. That's all they did. They lived to train. Coyote, another jiu-jitsu phenom. Well, he got it in 3 years. Again, Coyote was training 8 to 10 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. We can't, the Machados, okay? They literally, Hegan has told this story. He moved to the Helios farm, and that's all they did was train. Hickson, all he did was train. Hickson, if you read his book, I think, what did he drop out of school when he was like 13 or 14, something like that?
No,
it was something like that. All he did was train. You know, and people, oh, Travis Stevens, yes, he got his jiu-jitsu black belt in 18 months. But that's not you. Guess what? Travis Stevens was already a Olympic silver medalist in judo before he got even touched the nuances of that newaza. And it's not that he didn't already have newaza. We've talked about this before. Travis Stevens was a master grappler before he got to it. Mark Schultz was a master grappler. Okay. There is a standard. None of these guys, the reason why I bring this up, and I've brought this up before in other episodes, none of these guys didn't come in fresh without a standard and working into that standard and working through that standard. So that's very, very important, is your personal integrity and your standard that you have for yourself is going to be reflective of what you're able to show and how technical you are. You don't, to your point, Adam, doesn't mean you have to be a world beater, because like you said, and I agree with you 100%, just because you're some superstar medalist doesn't mean you're going to be the best coach.
No, it doesn't. I
mean, we see this with the American football all the time.
Yeah, and to your point, yeah. BJ Penn, Travis Stevens, Coaches, 3 years. Yeah, they did. So did Derek Moneyberg. Seriously, that's the argument we're talking about right there. It sums it up.
That's the argument. Yeah.
Yeah, they did it in 3 years. They're phenoms. So did Derek Moneyberg. That tells you exactly what I'm talking about.
It's like, what side do you want to be on? But that also says, and this is where it's just so fucked up. Yes, belts matter, because he was flaunting that, he's a black belt and he got it in 3 years. If belts didn't matter, he would have never brought up the fact that, I got my black belt. No, I got it in 3 years. Yes, shady. Yes, unethical, 100%. But does it matter? Yes.
But this is what happens, right?
So
this is what we're talking about.
This is what happens.
This is what I'm talking about nowadays. Yeah, when BJ Penn and Kyle Terra and Travis Stevens got it. You're talking Mark Schultz when he got his. These guys, as you said, already elite grapplers or did nothing but jiu-jitsu 10 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also with highly, highly skilled, legitimate coaches for those 10 hours a day too, might I suggest. Okay?
Exactly.
So their 3-year black belt is great. Yeah, you guys are phenomenal at what you do. But then I look at Moneyberg and you go, you got yours in 3.5. Yeah, you added 6 months on because you didn't want to upstage it. Nice here. But, dude, we all know the whole thing with Moneyberg, right? Like, whatever it is, I'm not interested in getting into that. I guess the interest for me is where I go, here's legit guys at 3.5 years, 3 years. Here's a non-legit guy in 3 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Public, who doesn't know the story, both phenoms. Because let's also not forget, Moneyberg didn't get his off some two-bob nobody on the internet. He's got photos with, you're talking Hoist Gracie and all sorts of shit presenting him the belt, man. You understand what I'm saying? So your statement before about legitimate coaches giving you that rank, I don't know if that still flies, Brian.
I agree, but it's like I've said before, there's guys here in Southern California, if you have $5,000, they will give you a black belt.
I understand.
And these guys are phenomenal jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So it's just like, it's kind of fucked up all the way around.
And so it goes back to my point, right? Like,
Mm.
is the belt relevant anymore? I look at it and go, it can only be considered relevant by me if it has to. I look at it like this, right? Any belt that you get, you know whether you earned it or not. If you are happy to sit there and go, yeah, I got a black belt in 3.5 years, and you're Derek Moneyberg, that's on you. Yeah, that speaks more to me about your character as a person than it does your rank in jiu-jitsu. Okay?
So,
And then I go,
yeah.
where does the belt relevance come? The belt relevance comes to you as an individual. And I think that's the defining thing here. If people are out getting belts or chasing belts to tell everybody else what rank they are,
Mm.
okay, then it will become irrelevant because you will take shortcuts. Yeah, you will buy the belt if you can. You will skip a few things here and there, find a way around things, pay for certain things, etc., because you have no interest in the belt yourself. You're looking for external validation regarding a rank. Yeah. When you look at it internally, I don't want a rank I'm not at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not my
Yeah.
that's not my nature. I'm not interested in doing that. Like if you want to give me a black belt, but I know in myself I'm a purple belt, I won't take the black belt.
Yeah.
That's me. Other people would dive on it because for them it's all about people externally seeing them as this great grappler and a black belt. Me, I don't care. I look at it internally. So I guess it's your approach to the grappling arts and the grappling lifestyle. Do you want to do for you, or do you want to do for everybody else? If you want to do for you, belts are very, very relevant. If you want to do for everybody else, they're not. That would be my summary.
Yeah. It's your dedication to your personal journey. Um, and there's a lot of people that they don't have that integrity. I think that's what it comes down to is personal integrity. And we've just gotten to a point in the world nowadays where integrity is pretty much out the window. Um, it's a very rare commodity these days, personal integrity.
Yeah, because it's all, and I think what happened, probably one of the biggest downfalls, whilst at the same time being the greatest thing ever done, was the jiu-jitsu marketing machine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because the jiu-jitsu marketing machine made jiu-jitsu a mainstream subculture. Yeah, everybody knows jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows what
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu is. It's like karate used to be. Everybody knew what karate was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everybody. You could walk into a country town here, and say, "Oh, we do karate," and people would know what karate was. You can do the same thing now. Walk into a small country town in the middle of nowhere and go, "I do jiu-jitsu," and they know what it is. Whether it's through
Yeah.
UFC, whether it's through whatever, they all understand what jiu-jitsu is. In that same thing with that marketing machine, that promotion to build the monster that is BJJ, they also built a side market of corruption and shortcuts.
Sure.
It's like anything that becomes popular. If it becomes popular enough and there's enough money in it, there will be unscrupulous people looking to make more out of it.
Well, here's something interesting for us to consider. I was listening to Robert Drysdale the other day on another show, who, yes, Robert's coming on soon again, because we have a lot to talk about with him. He had mentioned that the only belt Haleo ever received was a judo black belt. I'm curious in terms of who gave Haleo Gracie his judo black belt, because any judoka, when they've watched the clips of Haleo versus Kimura from back in the day, I don't know anyone that said, "Oh, Haleo's got is a judo black belt." I mean, the skill set was ridiculous. It was so bad. It's hard for me to believe that somebody would have awarded him a judo black belt when he himself said, "Oh, well, nobody technically. I never trained with anybody. I just sat on the mats and watched, and then magically, I guess he gave himself a belt." So I don't know how he got a judo black belt, but his gripping and his footwork uh, in that match against Kimura tells me otherwise. And then he goes on to quote unquote invent Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and then he's a red belt and blah, 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 all this stuff. So we can look back. It's marketing, right?
And so
I mean,
when you go the founder of the style,
mm-hmm.
the god that is Helio Gracie to most jiu-jitsu practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the whole Helio Gracie deification thing. If it's okay
Mm-hmm.
for him to give himself a ninth dan or a 10th dan, why isn't it okay for me to get a shifty, sketchy black belt?
Mm-hmm.
The culture is built from the top. And if anybody knows that Helio was never awarded a black belt in anything, but he was the god of jiu-jitsu, and all his sons beat everyone, which they did, and there's no taking away from guys like Hickson and that. They were savages, dude. Destroyed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Credit to him. But I go, if he can give himself a belt, why would generations later black belts and stuff think it's, oh yeah, no, we can't sell a belt? Why not? Helio gave himself one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that culture's built from the top. There's no one in a wrestling room that goes and sits on the mat, then gets up and goes, opens a wrestling room in a club, and everybody goes, oh, great. You might open a club and have a lot of good wrestlers turn up to train there. That doesn't make you a great wrestling coach. It probably means you've got a good facility and it's somewhere extra for a good wrestler to train.
Shit.
And it's
Foxcatcher.
yeah, classic example, right? You throw enough shit at it, the old build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're offering money to people, you offer incentives, you offer this, that, the other. It can happen. Yeah. And so I go, the same thing is happening with belts. You built this machine that is worth so much money. I would love to see the figures of the jiu-jitsu world profit margin. Yeah, like of every club, every federation, every grappling contest, and just see how much jiu-jitsu makes globally a year. It would be
It has to
staggering.
be in the billions. Yeah, it has to be in the billions at this point.
It would be staggering, right? And when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking billions, that's the same as the fashion industry. Yeah, it's the same as the arms industry. It's the same as farming, agriculture. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You're telling me that there's not going to be some corruption in it?
Yeah.
Like fuck me dead. I'm surprised there hasn't a jiu-jitsu gym hasn't started called the Teamsters Gym. And watch, now that I've said that on here, somebody will start a Teamsters club, which I'll be expecting royalties from because it is all about the benefits in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch. Yeah, that'll happen now.
but look, I just think how much if I think the Moneyberg discussion that we had before sums up my thoughts on are belts important and stuff. I think belts are important to you if you earned them. If you have the character and you have the personal integrity to want to earn your belts, then damn straight they're important. If, however, you are happy to throw money to someone who's corrupt and they give you a belt, then they mean shit to me. I wouldn't wipe my ass with them.
Nothing. You can't separate. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't separate yourself from hard work.
Well, you can, but that just makes you. It means that your legitimacy is in question, yeah, your authenticity. That's what I'm saying. If you're happy
Yeah.
to separate yourself from hard work to do the shortcut, that's on you, I guess.
And it makes me think, like, why would you lie to yourself that way? But look at what people are doing. There's people out there now that do AI photos of themselves and this and that and the other thing and post it as like that's what they really look like.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just like we've developed into a culture of lying to ourselves.
Basically, and to everybody else. I mean, cultures, societies all around the world. It's a throwaway society. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
throwaway. Yeah, you used to buy something that was permanent and hung around for generations in a
Yeah.
family. Now, the last 6 months you're doing well and you throw it out and buy another one. You know, you look at relationships and divorce rates. And I don't want to get onto a high horse here and be all soapboxing shit because it's a grappling podcast, yeah. But even that, relationships are throwaway. The divorce rate.
Yeah.
Now, back
Mm-hmm.
in the day, people didn't get divorced; they worked at it. You know, now the divorce rate is crazy because even down to that, relationships, interactions, personal matters of the heart, marriages, thrown away. Everything is throwaway. And so I sort of go, ethics are the same. They throw them away. Yeah, ethics are irrelevant. All I want is the result. And if I can get it quicker by paying money, I will. I mean, you know, you even think we're separating further and further away from reality. You know, it used to be if you wanted to go and have takeout. Yeah, so you're having takeout food. I'm dying for a pizza. It used to be you had to
Mm-hmm.
go to the pizza shop. Yeah. And then you could ring up the pizza shop and they'd bring it to you. And now I
Mm-hmm.
don't even need to ring the pizza shop. I just Uber Eats it. Yeah, hit Uber Eats. It's very much the same as before. I used to have to go to a dojo. Then I could get it, go to camps or have people come and do seminars. Now let's just go online and pay for it. Same as Uber Eats. Yeah, it's Uber Belt.
Mm-hmm.
So where does the relevance of a belt sit? I 100% stand behind the fact, and I truly believe, I truly believe, the relevance of the belt is in direct relation to the character of the person.
Yeah. I had one because I have a distance training program and I had a distance student ask me recently, "Hey, do you offer rankings and blah blah blah?" I go, "I do. However, nothing is online with regards to rankings. You either have to fly me to you or fly to me, and I'll examine you and everything. At the end of the day, the mat doesn't lie. So you get nothing out of me if I don't feel you." Yeah, it's very old school, but sorry, it's just like that's the way it is. It's
That's
just
how it
like
should be.
I am not putting my stamp on anything unless I know. And ultimately, you have all these guys that they're making 1,000 black belts and this and that and the other thing, and they probably don't even know the names of all these people. But if I walk away from this one day, or if I die and there's 6 people that I personally handed a black belt to, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
going to.
I've
I'm
never
not
graded.
watering it down.
I've never graded a black belt. Never given anyone a black belt. Yeah, and people say I'm notoriously hard with my gradings. Yeah, my own son trained with me every day, privates every day for 6 years. Still only purple belt.
I gave one purple belt to a guy that deserved it because he had been a blue belt for 10 years. And I thought, okay, he's at a purple belt level. And ironically, the interesting thing was instead of continuing to train with me, he went the easy route and went to somebody else that was, a belt, gives out belts and stripes like Halloween candy, right? And the couple times he came back to train with me, or came to seminars and stuff like that, he was just like, "Oh, can I? I want to be able to add it in." I go, "Look, dude, this is the standard that I have. So if somebody gave you another belt, just go continue with them, because I'm not ever going to recognize any further belts because I didn't give it to you. And it's not that it's an ego thing. It's just because I know the character of the person he got a quote unquote brown belt from
Mm-hmm.
is an absolute shithead and a complete fraud." And so I was just like, yeah, sorry, I'm not recognizing it at all.
Yeah.
Uh, good for you. You can enjoy that all you want, but don't wear it around me. It's not going to be recognized here. And the people that are blue belts under me, and they know what they need to do to be purple belts. Because I had one of my guys, he trains up at another gym as well, closer to his house. And the head coach, who is a very esteemed individual who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, asked me, "How come you didn't give him his purple belt?" I go, "Because I said so." And he knows why. And the guy knows why. He's like, "Yeah, I know my judo needs to get better and I need to do this. I need to do that." I go, "Yeah." I go, "You already know." He said, "Well, I just want to let you know I tapped out a couple of the black belts at this guy's gym." I don't give a shit.
And
You tap them all out. I go, I'm not watering down my standard just because somebody else has loose standards.
but
Everybody has their own standard.
I sort of look at that too, dude, and go, I don't consider, and I know the person you're talking about because we've discussed that story, and I don't consider that person's standards loose at all.
Mm.
They're definitely legit standards, legit person who's grading legit black belts. And yeah, your guy tapped them. That doesn't constitute anything. All it constitutes was that you caught someone in a grappling match. Black belt or not, anyone gets
Yeah.
caught. Everyone gets caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's harder, much harder to tap a black belt when you're a blue belt. And it shouldn't happen. But it does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. My son's caught me. He's a purple belt. I'm a black belt. He's caught me before and tapped me. Wasn't paying attention, wasn't on the ball. He was just smarter than me at the time. Got me. Good on you. You got me. Great. Doesn't automatically make him a black belt, does it?
No. And I think also what I see at other schools, I'd say more than 90% of most schools, they don't put the same weight to stand up as they do on the ground. And I place equal weight. Like you can't, if you don't have a good stand up game, I'm sorry, you can't go to the next step. I put equal weight on that. So
Yeah,
is what it is.
I'll do the same thing.
If I don't see it, well, keep working at it. Let me know.
That's it. I'll get you. And I think part of the other thing is and this is a big thing for me, and I don't want it to sound insulting to jiu-jitsu or anyone I like it, because it's actually a compliment in a way. It's a backhanded compliment. I think part of the problem and a real driving force behind fraudulent black belt claims and grading and stuff is the mystique that has been built around the jiu-jitsu black belt. Yeah, that a jiu-jitsu black belt is invincible, the ultimate fighter, beats everybody. That's rubbish. I've seen classic freestyle wrestlers tap black belts.
Yeah.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Cradle them up and crush them that badly that they tapped out. Yet I get, Mark Schultz done it to Hickson and he didn't tap. Well, these black belts weren't Hickson.
Yeah.
They're human. They're human. You understand, to anybody who's in jiu-jitsu chasing that black belt, the black belt doesn't make you automatically superhuman, doesn't make you invincible to tap into anybody. Anybody can catch you if you're lazy, if you're not paying attention, if you think you're better than them and, beyond having to grapple correctly with them because they're just a blue belt. Let me tell you something. Blue belts know the exact same techniques that black belts do. Everything you're going to use or learn at black belt or use regularly at black belt, you learned at blue belt already. It's just
Yeah.
done at a different level. That's all.
The thing that Chris Howder used to impress on me all the time. I know he says this all the time, and it's so important, such a valuable piece of information. Is black belt isn't the end; it's the beginning. Black belt is when you start all over with deeper insight, understanding, and perspective, and start with as a white belt again, mindset, and keep developing, keep developing, keep developing. And I use that. It just, for me, going through these different rankings and stuff like that, what it's done is it's given me perspective. And then as a black belt, it allows me to sit again as a student and have a better perspective and a more watchful eye when I'm learning. It gives me the tools to ask better questions. And we were talking offline the other day about, how for you were at, a belt ceremony recently and you were training with guys and how good it felt for you to be the student in the room.
Yeah.
And just to enjoy the process, because you don't often get a chance to do that.
Never. I never get the chance except when I go to, I guess, my BJJ Professors Club, and get to
Mm-hmm.
roll with his guys during the grading and that. It was great. I put the pajamas on, put a belt on, rolled with some other black belts. It was cool. It was really good. I had a ball.
And for me, the same thing. It's just like when I go to the CSW camps, or, I do that a couple times a year when Chris Howder has his camp, anybody that has a seminar, when Hegan has his seminars and stuff like that, I am thoroughly excited to sit in the room and be the student. I am excited. I don't care how many times I've seen a technique, show it to me again.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I'm going to pick something up that I didn't see before, that I didn't learn before, that I didn't think about. So I love it. I am excited. I'm frothing at the mouth. I had even asked Javi Vasquez. Last time we talked to him, I'm like, dude, when are you doing your next round of seminars? I'm the first person to sign up.
Yeah.
I am the first person to sign up, and I'm there early. And because and I was talking to him. He's like, hey, when are you coming up? Because he's one of those guys that I love workshopping stuff with and asking him questions about things that I'm doing, that I'm working on. Same thing with Eric Paulson. I say, Sensei, I've got something scheduled with him soon. When can I come up and workshop with you? And I sit down and I take a private and I ask questions about things that I'm working on, things that I'm thinking about. Am I going in the right direction, or is this going to be a miserable failure? Help me.
Yeah. And for me, it's
You
the
know,
same, like like in grappling in general, but especially with jiu-jitsu and stuff. Like, I will go to Dan Higgins, who's my coach. Yeah. Amazing grappler in general. Great wrestler, good jiu-jitsu, good judo. I should say fantastic jiu-jitsu, third degree black belt under Lewis Kamuri. Amazing, amazing grappler, very skilled, very knowledgeable. And I love being able to go to him and say, dude, what about this? You reckon it'll work? And he will go, yeah, man, that'll work. Or he'll go, no, just no. And I go, okay. It's good to have that sounding board. Everybody needs it.
absolutely.
Everybody needs it. And I guess if you don't have this, again, we go back to that thing. If we don't have the time and skill set that sort of validates that belt level, Yeah, as you go further along, you might fool most of the people all the time, or some of the people all the time, whatever it is. But then somebody like me will come along and go, "Oh, cool, we're training together," and then we grapple or whatever. And I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm going to have to. This would be great. I get to ask you questions and stuff." And then I just and I go, "Well, dude, black belt standards have changed. You know, I'm used to guys like Dan Higgins and that, where I go, and he goes to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I go, oh, shit, okay, well. And that is that whole basis of, is the belt legitimate or not? I guess it's legitimate. Again, I go back to you. It's based on your personal character. Well, I know, being very, very good friends with Dan, that I know the extent of time that Dan has put into martial arts across the board to get to the level that he is. And he's the person I probably respect, one of the if not the most person I have the most respect for in martial arts here in Australia, especially is Dan, because I know everything that he's done and how good and how committed and how all about it he was and still is. On his own journey. He doesn't do things for everybody else. He does things for him to become a better sensei and teacher to his students. That's what it's about to me. That's what makes it legit. When I'm doing it for everybody else's benefit, to get some praise, to get a sponsorship, to get some money, to whatever it is, to support people and students. Yeah, there's a big difference between doing all this work to get to this level where Dan is, to pass that knowledge that he's spent so many years gaining onto his students to better them, is vastly
Yeah.
different to someone who goes, give me a black belt, rob the students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just two totally different facets, two totally different entities that are not even in the same universe.
So I think that's how we sum this up. Do belts and rankings matter? Yes, if you have integrity.
Exactly.
It matters if you are the man of integrity and are willing to put in the work and the honesty and the humility to develop through the ranks properly, honestly, and sincerely.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not that guy, no, it doesn't matter at all.
Doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
I like that.
Me too.
That's fair. I think we've settled that. Yeah, because we have to really think through this to say it right, because it's not an easy, if it's an easy answer, this would have been a 2-second episode, and it's not. It's very complex. But I think we summed it up properly. Like, subscribe, and share, friends. You know what to do. Every week, share with 3 new people. Okay. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, whatever platform you're using. Follow our sponsors. Check out the amazing gear that they have. Okay. Spartan cans, Nevin eyewear, road gears. All the links are in the description of everything that we're posting. So click on that link and subscribe and get some stuff. Support those sponsors. And also, what I'm going to be putting in this week is you can start getting gear from us, right? So we have Level Up Grappling t-shirts, PCI Death Roll shirts, PCI Budokan shirts. I'm going to be putting more stuff up. There's going to be a link down below. So represent, get out there, some fun stuff. We're going to be putting more stuff out there. It's just a process. And I'm really bad with the technology. So the reason why you're not going to see a bunch of stuff is because I'm not great with the technology. And I have to just wait for when people are available to help me get it done. But it'll be out there. And with that, we are out of here.